talking about Halloween masks. Is it too soon? Well, that's because I'm a little late, but maybe you'll find this 6-7 months down the road, or you could use this for any type of mask you want to make. This doesn't have to be Halloween. You want a mask? This is a great way to do it. I am specifically making a mask for Beta from The Walking Dead, but that's just because that's the way I molded it specifically to the form I had. You can take the same process and use it to make any kind of mask you want. Full face mask, all the way around your head mask, just anything. I'm also going to take you through all the horrors I had run across when I made some mistakes. I had to live through it, so do you. But it might actually save you some time or find some fixes if you also mess up. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to need is silicone. I use it for everything. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I am going to give myself a workspace because I'm always trashing my counters. I'm going to go ahead and use this sighting here, just a picture, so I can get an idea of where, I don't even watch The Walking Dead, by the way, so I can see what it's supposed to look like and where all the pieces fit. Here we are with the first one. This is the silicone mask, and this is my favorite out of all the ones I've done. I love this one. I wish I would have made it a full head so I could have put the hair onto it. And I also wish I'd have understood or remembered, that would be the correct term, remembered about paint and silicone. And that probably would have solved a lot of headache. I would never have gone through all these other trials and errors. But I didn't. So here I am just putting on there. By the way, you know what? If you did this outside, you would be a much happier camper because the smell of silicone, it's like inhaling vinegar. It's just so intense. And I did not wear a mask because I'm never very careful with my health. So please don't copy me. If there's ever a don't do what I did, my videos are kind of those. So don't do what I did. Wear a mask. It's also ideal to wear gloves. I don't protect my hands nearly enough. And then I end up with a week's worth of gunk on them. But I did think to put some elastic into the silicone before it cured, so it stays on beautifully. In fact, let me see, how do I look? So this, I had a good amount of time. I think you got about half an hour maybe before it really starts to set. So I was able to build up the cheekbones. I was able to bring the skin flaps down over the jaw as much as I could. Then I also later on raise up the eyebrows a little bit. And somewhere along the line, I remember that he has dead person ears on the side of his head as well. So that's what's going on here. I'm just trying to get that shape the same as I see in that picture that I had frozen on my computer to look at for a guidance. Ooh, the pock marks. That's what I'm doing right here. I'm making those pock marks. Dips where the skin just rotted. It's so gross. Once the silicone has become dry to touch, it is still malleable. And so if you find there are some areas that just sort of like stick up more than what you had actually intended for them to, you can now press them in safely. It doesn't stick to your finger. And like some of my holes were just a little wider than I wanted, so I sort of squished it. So it is still able to be manipulated by hand. Just a little. Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it, says the one who doesn't ever stop messing with stuff. But just wanted to let you know, at this point, you can push down any parts that you feel are sticking up a little bit too much, etc., etc. I think we all know this. We've heard it a million times, but we get all into our project and we completely forget. Yay! But I had trouble getting the paint on it. Obviously, you can see all the beading going on here, which is a very cool look, but it's not the look I'm going for specifically. How well does the paint stay? Clearly not well at all. So, directly onto silicone is not the option we want. Okay, I don't want to make the mistake of doing the whole dang thing again, so I'm going to let that sit. And actually, I am seeing beading again. Bear with me here, I'm just having a little fun. I thought it'd be really cool to make the silicone go back into the can for a second. So now I've got to figure out how to get paint to stick to silicone. And I know everybody's tried this and had no success, but you know, I was determined. First thing I did was I mixed paint into the silicone. That is a keeper. If you have only one color you're trying for in your mask, do that. Trust me. It not only makes the silicone dry faster and also less tacky, so it doesn't stick to your fingers, but it works. It's amazing. It's all the way through color. So the next thing I tried was shellac. I'll tell you right now, it didn't work. All right, here is with the shellac on it. No, I'm still seeing all sorts of bubbling up there. And denatured alcohol. Now, I had heard some people say they had success with that. I didn't, not even a little bit. So what I did do, and this is between you and me. I took this, and it is contact cement, rubber cement, whatever we want to call it, and I brushed it onto the mask, and then I painted, and the paint stuck. No beading, no separating, no sissing. The only problem I had though is over time, like about a week later, I noticed that if I stuck my fingernail under the paint, I could get the whole thing up. So this will last you for one good wear, and it will. It'll hold up for that period of time, but you're not going to get eons of use out of it. Then I thought, hey, what if I just got paintable silicone? I mean, silicone is perfect, but paintable silicone saves all my problems, right? So I went to the store and I grabbed some. So I thought, what I actually grabbed was paintable caulk. I don't know. Again, when I get excited, sometimes I just dive right in, and it's just ridiculous the things I can come up with. So I did that, and I did make this one full around. And why do you not want to do caulk? First of all, it's never going to dry all the way through. I actually had to peel this off, and I had to take a heat gun to it. It was a nightmare. So I scraped it off, and that's why the very rough surface. It's not as strong. This will rip way too easily. If you mess up and get caulk, just throw it in the trash, because that's what it is. One thing I did learn from my last mistake was this time I wanted the full dummy head, and that way I could get the mask to go all the way around the head, because I did intend to add hair to it in the end. So I am taping it on to the mannequin head I got for $3.99 at the same place where I got the hair extensions, which also $3.99. What is that? Their price for everything? I don't know. It's a really reasonable hair store. I taped it, and then I got to work adding the goop. This time I just poured it on there, and I noticed right away it had a completely different texture, but I went with it. I've never played with paintable silicone before. Again, didn't know it was paintable caulk and not silicone, but either way, I didn't know. So I just did the same thing I did before. I built up my shape. I tried to build up the back. Well, I didn't do that before, but this time I added the back to it. And then I tried to build up the cheekbones and the eyebrows, and then I tried to create the pock marks. I was just having a good old time. And here you go. Like I said, that caulk, it was too thick. It would not dry. And this was like 5 days later. I finally took my heat gun to it, and I was trying to lift underneath so it could get some heat underneath. By the way, heat guns and styrofoam doll heads don't go well. I was careful in the back, but in the eye sockets, I definitely hollowed out this head, and I wasn't that worried because I had a plastic mask. All I needed was the backside to keep its shape. So I went back to the store and I got paintable silicone the way I had meant to do. Stick with regular silicone. This stuff is not silicone. I mean, surely they've got silicone in it, and it does dry better than, say, caulk, but still doesn't dry like silicone does. Silicone rocks. Also, it's not as strong as silicone. This thing just ripped just so easily. So again, you do this, trash. All the same thing. You don't even want to watch this, but you definitely want to see, hey, maybe we're getting better at putting this together. Raising up those cheekbones. I don't know why he had such big cheekbones, but he did. I had a hard time getting them. Getting those ears in there. Anyways, getting those lines and then getting those pock marks in. Making it as ugly and dead as I possibly can. Now here's the sad thing. When I was done, I didn't paint either one. Not the paintable caulk and not the paintable silicone, because I felt they were too weak to even bother with. I'm sure they're paintable just the way they say they are. But again, they're too weak. It wasn't worth my time. So I went back to, guess what? silicone. Now, because I had done that test with mixing the paint into the silicone, that's what I decided to do for my final try. So I mixed the paint in with the silicone as I went along. Now, here's the thing. I mentioned this earlier. When you mix paint, and by the way, acrylic paint, when you mix acrylic paint into the silicone, it will dry so much faster. So that half-hour window I had, that was gone. So I had to work really, really quick, and in some ways I just didn't feel like I worked quickly enough, and I don't think I got as much of the rotting flesh look as I had wanted to, but it still turned out pretty darn good. And I tried to make sure the black was all around the edges the way it was in the picture, and then the pock marks underneath where the skin was dying and decaying, and the whole thing's dying and decaying. It's a dead body. But anyways, the deeper parts of the pock marks were also black, so I tried to make sure I got that, but I was running out of time. But look, it's so pretty. It's so ugly, but pretty. Then came the job of finding the hairs. So I went to the beauty supply store. Each one of these really big bags was $3.99, so that was a pretty good deal. I have remainders of both the gray and the, I don't know, would you call it strawberry blonde? These are, if you want to see if you can find them online or at your local wig shop, I guess, hair shop, beauty supply store. Anyway, so here they are. Good luck. Let me see. Oh, and then this needle here. This I got at Joann's. It is, it says a crochet needle. I've never used it. What I was originally looking for at the beauty supply, but they were out, were those needles that people use to frost their hair. If you can't find the one I'm talking about for frosting hair, then go to a fabric store and look for one of these. Walmart has it, actually cheaper. So, you know, shop around. Don't worry, I'm just gonna fast forward a bit because I was holding it by my hands. I still hadn't thought about the fact that, hey, maybe I should have it set up. It was gross. Guys, touching hair that does not belong to a living thing is so gross. Oh, I was having the hardest time. All this dead hair, and it's synthetic. This is fake hair, but it's still just the idea it doesn't belong to a head. So I was just getting the heebie-jeebies the whole time, and I was just making such a mess trying to pull strands out. But that's my problem. You'll do much better. I have faith. Anyway, so once I put the mannequin head up into a vise and set it on the table so I could just work on it with both my hands, I had a much better time, and I'll slow it down at that point and show you a few samples of me going through. I just poked in one end and then kept on going through until it poked out again and put the hair onto the loop and pull the whole thing out. Well, actually, hold on to one end of the hair and then pull so that the other end goes through. And then it is coming out on both sides. And I thought that worked fantastically. So, little tip, how to make hair come out of your mask. Once the hair was all done, it was time to make the teeth. We found these at Party City, and they're pretty cool gold teeth. They have these meltable plastic beads that come with them, just like the kind that you can buy at Hobby Lobby. It's the same thing. Because these teeth are made for the top teeth and not the bottom where betas are, Eric went ahead and trimmed the edges down so that they would be slimmer teeth. Then, following directions, you just put it in hot water with a dirty coffee cup, excuse that please, and then just round it out, put it inside the gold tooth, and obviously fit it to your individual tooth so that it stays attached. Once the shape was in there, he went ahead and cut off the extra plastic around the edges, the part that sort of pushed out. And there's one spot where he has two teeth in a row, and that's what we're looking at here with the shape. This is pretty much how it's going to come out, but Beta has several teeth, so we just did this a couple of times until we could get the complete grill. Arr. So having the mask with the built-in hair, the grill of golden teeth, all that's left is the clothing itself. I didn't have time to show you all of the sewing, which honestly, you don't need that. You just need to get an idea of how do you make a pattern. When I go to make the satyr costume, I'll show you how I make my own patterns, and I'll just add a card here. So if that video has been uploaded, the card will be here. I would love to show you the final of the perfect mask I had made, but something happened to it. And Eric would like me not to say what happened to it, but I no longer have it. What I do have are tons of pictures of us at Renfest with him in full costume. So, well, I feel I did all of this out of order. Hopefully I mashed it together in the right direction. If you liked it, hit that thumbs up, hit subscribe. I hope to see you back, and in the meantime, I'll just keep creating. I'll see you guys next time.